And welcome back to North of the Broad. Guess who I have with me? Jonathan Haupt. As you know, he's Executive Director of the Pat Conroy Literary Center. And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Robin. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to see you. And we're going to dive right in and talk about March 4th.
Yes.
It is going to be, again, the celebrates the 8th annual March 4th.
Right.
And it's a celebration, actually, of the life of Pat Conroy. I guess he passed on March 4th.
Literally on the 4th day of March. And it was his widow, Cassandra, who noticed that is not just a date, it's a sentence, it's a commandment to move forward, to march ahead.
Right.
So we made it up on the fly the very first year, and people responded beautifully and powerfully to it. So now we're in year 8. Here we are
8 years later.
Yes.
And it'll happen actually on March 3rd, which is a Saturday, and Sunday, the 2nd, which is a Saturday, and then the 3rd, which is a Sunday.
That's right.
So let's talk about Saturday. You start with the DAYLO students at Port Royal, I
That's
believe.
right. Saturday's events are all entirely free. So we're at the Port Royal Farmers Market that morning from 9:30 to noon with the student volunteers from DAYLO doing a teddy bear picnic read aloud. But we're also partnering with the National Park Service. So Ranger Katherine Freeman will be there doing, as we call it, read with a ranger. So she'll be doing a very specific read aloud as part of that.
That's a neat partnership. How did that happen?
It works out well. They have a facility there at the Port Royal Farmers Market. So we're practically neighbors anyway, so it made great sense to work with them.
Okay, and then that afternoon you're back here at the Conroy Center.
In this very room, actually, with Jeffrey Dale Lawton, who is a novelist, a debut novelist. He works at the Library of Congress in his everyday life, but his debut novel, Red Clay's Suzie, has won a number of awards already. And he'll be here as our Conroy writer-in-resident that week anyway, so the timing just kind of worked out perfectly to highlight him.
And is that a ticketed event, or is that probably because of the space,
It's free, but space is limited. The room is the size it is, so it's helpful to know if people want to come, if they let us know by phone or by email. There are 2 ways to do that through the website.
Okay, perfect. And then let's move on to Sunday, which is March the 3rd. That's the big day.
That is a super big day,
And we have 2 of the authors'
So
books
we have
right here.
3 presentations in the afternoon, but we begin in the morning as we do every year with a nature walk of Penn Center.
At Penn Center.
And more often than not, Drew Lanham, a master naturalist, has been our guide for that. But in years that Drew is not available, we always find an amazing substitute, and that's the case this year. Andy Jones, who is the new director of the Spring Island Trust and the Lowcountry Institute, is going to come out and do this. And he'll be a first-timer with March 4th, but he knows his stuff, so this is going to be an exciting variation on the walk.
And folks can just show up, and then they just go along the walk, or should they register for the walk as well?
They do have to register in advance for anything that we're doing at Penn Center, but usually about 100 to 150 people participate, which seems like a lot for a nature walk, but we figured out how to do it. 8 years in, we kind of figured this part out. Then there's a catered lunch option right after that. Debbi Covington, our local award-winning caterer, handles that masterfully.
And she does a beautiful job, and the food's delicious.
She really does. So there's a ticketed price with lunch and without lunch. And then in the afternoon, we have 3 back-to-back-to-back presenters. So
so let's talk first of Brendan Slocum.
Yes. His first book, which is sitting here next to us, The Violin Conspiracy, was a musical mystery. And it's a Good Morning America selection. So more recently, he issued a second book, also a musical mystery, called Symphony of Secrets. And it was my absolute favorite book of last year. So I get to interview.
Your favorite book of the entire year.
And I read a lot of books, as you know. So that's not a small claim.
That's a huge compliment.
So Brendan is going to come. He's going to do some school visits while he's here. And then on March 4th, we're going to talk about Symphony of Secrets.
Okay, very good. And so what time will they be one after another on that day?
Yeah, we start about 9:30 in the morning and we go until 4 in the afternoon. So after Brendan, there are 2 others. Nature's Messenger, which is Patrick Dean's book about Mark Catesby, who was a British naturalist who came through the Carolinas in the mid-1700s and really wrote the first history of flora and fauna in the era. Margaret Evans is going to interview him. She is the publisher of Lowcountry Weekly here in town.
Right.
And then we wrap up the day with our celebrity surprise.
With celebrity photographer, bird photographer.
Yes, absolutely. Kelly Lukey, whose birding photography has been on the cover of Garden and Gun, National Audubon magazine, is going to basically teach a photography workshop for us at the end of the day. So a nice big moment to end on for March 4th.
And again, you need to register, go on the website, and there is a small price for that.
$12 to $30, depending on if you're getting lunch or not. So a nominal fee, thanks to the generosity of our sponsors.
And what a wonderful celebration and honor, of course, of Pat Conroy. And thank you, Jonathan. And thank you all for watching this edition of North of the Broad. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.